Hi, it's Tessa with Hip Over 50. So, I am starting a new series today called Hip Places to Live in England. Since I've moved here, I've been checking out a lot of towns looking for that perfect place. So, come along with me and you'll find out all the places that I've been to. The first one on my list is Bradford on Avon in Wiltshire County. That is in the southwest of England and it's not too far from the cities of Bath and Bristol. What do I like about Bradford on Avon? Well, its location. You've got a small town that's in the middle of the countryside, and yet you're close to bigger cities for cultural amenities, shopping, etc., etc. It's got a really nice vibe on its own, though. A lot of towns and villages don't really have any character or much going on. Not Bradford on Avon. It's got a nice little buzz. It's a little vibrant. It changes throughout the year, but because it's on the River Avon as well, it has a lot of activity going on throughout the year. People come to use the river, and the town itself is really lovely. Lots of characterful cottages, little independent shops, lots of places to have a bite to eat or a coffee, and the best part, lots of nature activities to do on your doorstep, even if it's just taking a country walk to a country pub. So I think Bradford on Avon, which is about 8 miles southeast of Bath, is a winner. Let's find out more about it and why I like it so much. Come on with me. Let's go. About Bradford on Avon. Well, I can tell you my first glimpse of it was on the train going into Bath. And I looked out the window and I saw these gorgeous buildings right on the river. And there was a weir, which is kind of like a dam where the water flows over it. And I thought, wow, that looks really nice. I need to check that out. And so I have done. And it's become one of my favorite places to go, primarily for walking, but also for meeting friends for coffee or whatever. It's a great little town. Let me tell you why I like it so much. Well, it's very historical. There's a Tithe barn dating from 1341. There's a Saxon church from AD 700. And the town bridge itself was built in the 13th century. A lot of the buildings are kind of like, they remind me a little bit of Bath. It's that same kind of period architecture, but it's on a much smaller scale. There is a terrace that kind of rises out of town with lots of period characterful cottages, little shambles, little alleyways, little passages that you can wander along and get great views from when you get to the top of that hill. So the town itself is very compact. There's a population of about 10,000. But then it's surrounded by this lovely rolling countryside. And also, even though it's a small town, Bath and Bristol are only, a half an hour away. You can hop on a train. There's a mainline train station, which is another plus in Bradford's favor. You can hop on a train and be into Bath, in 15 minutes if you want to do your shopping or have other amenities on your doorstep. So that's why I think it's kind of the best of both worlds. It's got this great historical, feeling to it. It's a lovely little walkable town. And yet you've got a lot of fabulous countryside on your doorstep. And wait, the best for last. The River Avon flows through Bradford under that town bridge and is a great source of things to do and activity in the town. It really brings a lot of life to town. And wait for it, there's one more feature, the Avon Canal. The Avon Canal kind of bisects the river up at Avon, a little hamlet outside of Bradford on Avon, and it brings more character in life because you have a lot of folks living or traveling on narrowboats or canoes or paddleboards up and down the canal. So there's really a lot going on for such a small town. And yet, like I said, it's got the best of both worlds because you're close to the big cities and close to the countryside. So let's find out more about Bradford on Avon, shall we? My first glimpse of Bradford on Avon was on the train to Bath, and I looked out the window and I saw these gorgeous honey-colored buildings sort of along the River Avon with the weir splashing in front, and I thought, wow, that looks really beautiful. I'm going to have to check it out. And I did, and now it's one of my favorite places to come and visit and hang out. So I think you'll like it too. There's so much character and history, maybe not quite as much as its um, cousin down the road, Bath, but still a lot going on there historically. It used to be the center of wool and cloth milling, probably due to the river being right there. And there's a set of Weavers Cottages on the top of the terrace just coming out of town that are a testament to that. There's a Tithe barn dating from 1340, a Norman bridge that is still used every day today, and that also dates to the 13th century. And then there's a beautiful Saxon church. So there's really a lot of history, and it gives the town a lot of character. For a small town of about 10,000, it really punches above its weight in historical value and significance. But what's history if it doesn't have a lot of great character? But it does. There's a lot going on for it, and it's a great little place to wander around and to spend the day, afternoon, or the rest of your life. So let's see what else Bradford-on-Avon has to offer, shall we? All the good things about Bradford-on-Avon, are there any cons? What are the downsides possibly to living there? Well, the only ones that I could really see is because it's kind of a small town and there's a main road that goes through it and has to go over that historic bridge, traffic can get congested very easily. It's sort of a higgledy-piggledy route to go through town, and things do get backed up, especially on busy days or weekends. So that's something to be considered. It's a very popular spot. I mean, people like to come there to use the river, etc. So the other downside might be there's not a main grocery store. Well, there is a small Sainsbury's on the outskirts of town. There's a small co-op grocery in the center of town that's walkable. But there's no Marks and Spencer's or Waitrose. If you want those, you'll need to go to Bath, which isn't a bad thing. It's not that far, and they're both really nice large stores. The other possible downside would be average home prices are about £475,000, which is a little, well, not too much, but a little above the national average. That translates to a little over $500,000 for you folks in America. The median rental is about £975 per month. That is about $1,100. But there is limited stock because there just isn't a whole lot available because it is a small town. I recently saw a 2-bedroom, 1-bath character cottage on Rightmove for about £1,100 per month. So that is about what to expect. But I think the cons are totally outweighed by the pros. I mean, the mainline train station, that is awesome. Takes you into Bath or Bristol and onto London very easily. You have easy access to Bath, but without all that tourism and congestion. I think Bradford-on-Avon is just the right size, not too big or not too small for those of us who are Goldilocks. And the towpaths and the trails, the canal and the river are so easy to walk, bike, canoe, fish, boat, whatever you want to do. There's so many options, and there's so much life. It's always changing throughout the seasons. I think the charming architecture and the historic nature of the town is very appealing. And of course, you can walk to restaurants, cafes, and shops. And if you're a swimmer, there's a town pool. And like I said, you can take a canoe down the river or the canal. And there's even a cute little sailing club, which has been around for 50 years. I stumbled across it and I thought, I couldn't believe it. They're sailing dinghy sailboats in the middle of the river. So lots to do, lots to keep you busy, but also easy to jump on a train or just head out for a bigger town or bigger city if that's what you want. So I think it's a win-win. I would be happy to live there in Bradford-on-Avon. It ticks most of my boxes. I love the easy access to countryside walks. That is a huge plus to me. So how about you? Could you see yourself living here? If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them. And of course, if you want to like and subscribe, I'll be doing a series of hit places to live in England, and this is just the first, so I hope to see you again on another one. Bye for now.